Like, how many different ways are there to live intentionally? You can habit track. Sometimes I find it's easier to create good habits and track them than it is to set goals and tasks and be consistent. However, my advice, do both. Goal setting and tracking. What I've learned about goal setting is it's great to have a routine when you are regularly working towards goals that are significant to you. And it can be helpful even if you're a work from home creative or entrepreneur to clock off at a certain time in the late hour or evening every day and maybe even take a day off each week. Meditation. I should do meditation. I should meditate. I know it can be really calming and useful, but I often feel like I don't have the time for it. I need to make time to meditate. Digital minimalism. I discovered this book, Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport, and it talks about how social media, without being aware of its negative effect and taking action to limit what you use for those that actually give you value, can massively impact your health negatively. Now, life lessons. When I volunteered at an art gallery, I learned a bit about how to people. Guests would walk in and we would start talking about their work, about their art journey and their ambitions, and I would share my own art journey and my portfolio and my ambitions. It was a really great way for me to be introduced to, in a way, networking, but also just putting oneself out there, i.e., meeting people and being open to other people's journeys. Something I learned about drugs: nicotine can be both habitually and chemically incredibly difficult to quit, and may not be worth the social lubricant it provides in times like high school. Alcohol for non-alcoholics is mostly habitual, and it can be something that doesn't really have negative effects on your life quality depending on the individual. Weed can be a bit of a crutch. It can have similar social lubricant and emotional safety or emotional balance support that cigarettes provide, yet more potent. It can leach your potential, though, but can be mostly harmless depending on the individual. Some people, especially people with history or capacity for mental illness, weed is really bad for those people. But one effect I've noticed is anxieties and other mental illness can worsen when you quit weed. This does come from the drug, but it only affects you when you stop, and you may put on weight. Hallucinogens. Now, this isn't absolute. They have been proven to be useful in controlled situations for helping curb mental illness, but without guidance, and I don't recommend doing them at all, can be incredibly dangerous to both your state of mind and your life quality. They can mess you up long term so that you can't deal with some of life's more positive events like pregnancy, kids growing up, going to events, being there for people, etc. Now, my first on-site job was data entry at Mum's office. So Mum got me a job at her work entering data into a database. It was easy and the workmates were friendly and the environment was it was like an office, but it wasn't open to the public. Um, so it was a back office, and the environment was pretty relaxed. I enjoyed my time. The work was easy, and I often got it done ahead of time. So uh, my first uh, my first exposure to on-site working in a real job was pretty positive. And my first paid job was making a website for a school with Dreamweaver. So I made a website as my first paid gig using Dreamweaver and some custom JavaScript. It was a bit of meetings with the client to make sure I knew exactly what they wanted, and just a matter of building the site, implementing features they wanted, and bug fixing. That was mostly with the JavaScript aspects. Now, as far as like positive feedback on my creative work, I received an assessment of my Polytech, which is college, final assignment, and Linda Chanwayo was the assessor, and she's a New Zealand poet and playwright, and she gave a really in-depth and really positive critique of my assignment. My assignment was a combination of prose, script, essay, and short story, all in one. But it was supposed to be a script, so I kind of broke the rules there. And she thought it was very depressing. She thought it was very intelligent. She thought it was beautifully written and incredibly clever and sophisticated, and performative. But she also felt it was very internally self-flagellating and dark and at times um, overwhelmingly depressing. So I got a great assessment from her that was like it was negatives and positives, but even the negatives were I found kind of amusing because the negatives were like it's too much, it's too depressing, and I'm like that's what I want. Um, another really cool thing that happened was I won a mentorship, a 10-hour mentorship paid for by the New Zealand Society of Authors with Barbara Alf, um, who is a New Zealand author. It was 10 hours with her for my novel that I was working on. That was a great experience, and it was really cool that I won the mentorship. Um, I won it for the novel in development, and then me and her met several times to for the 10 hours in little meeting blocks um, to discuss uh, how to talk about the writing and to discuss how I was going to keep working on it and what needed to be done, what needed to be investigated, and stuff like that. So yeah, that was really cool. So yeah, listen, if you want to talk about something, just leave a comment and I'll try to get back to you. If you have any requests or feedback, please do. Thank you very much. See you next time.